We're going to try it again, and now I'm going to not just use the simple examples. I'm going to put negatives on the top, bottom, everywhere, and we're just going to practice what we know. So break it up into kind of smaller questions. We know what 6 to the negative 2 means. We just did that. That means the 6 is on the denominator, right? So 6 to the negative 2 is actually 1 over 6 squared. So that means it's actually 6 squared here on the bottom. I don't want to put the 1 on the top. I want to see if I need to fill that in with something else first. But that 6 to the negative 2, so it's separated out. This just means it moves to the bottom. 6 squared on the bottom. It should be 1. You can put the 1 there if you want, but I'm just looking ahead and going, okay, this one in the denominator, so think of this as a separate question. I just combined what I combined, A and B on the other page. 5 to the negative 1 in the denominator means I'm moving it up to the top and making it 5 to the 1. Do I need to show the 1? No. Right? So it's 2 separate questions. I combined the 2 questions from the page before, A and B. So if it's in the top, it's negative, it moves to the bottom. If it's a negative in the bottom, it moves to the top. Now, oops, sorry. Can I reduce that at all? Or can I simplify that? Yes. I don't want to see the 1 there, right? So make sure that that is not shown anymore. That's just for myself. I was just remembering. And then this becomes a 36. Right? So we do want to get rid of that. That's just in case you need it. You go right, it moves up, and it's the 1. And I can't reduce that anymore. I'm good to go. Okay, so then this next one here, remember, it's separate questions. That's just 3 squared. 3 squared is just 9, nothing else. Okay, so don't change every question to a negative question. Now I'm going to start to look, I'm going to do positives with negatives. So don't forget, we know the top here is just 3 squared. That's just 9. So we're good there, 9. Okay, so don't switch it. People start to fix my question, and you're like, oh, that's a negative, that's a negative. I never said, see they're different? Right? That one's got a negative on the top, this one does not. Don't autocorrect it and go, oh, everything's a negative. That's a positive, it's just 9. Here it's a negative in the denominator, which means opposite, so bring it up to the top, and you're going to go 5 to the 1. Right, 5 to the 1. I don't need to show the 1, so you don't have to show the 1 there. So it's just 5 on the top. Did I need this denominator here at all? No, so I can take that away, and nothing's left on the bottom. So you go, oh, wait, it's just 45. Done. Nothing's left on the bottom. That one moved up, and it's just gone. Okay. This bubble here, even if you get the correct answer, you will only get full marks, or really any marks. I'm going to say any marks, if you are using the laws of exponents. Okay, so I'm going to fix that word. Only if you're using the laws of exponents. Simplify first using the laws, and check if you're unsure before an evaluation. So if you're doing your questions and you compare hopefully with someone else in class, you go, oh, your steps are a lot different than mine. Maybe we should check. And yes, please bring it to me to check. Because sometimes you're doing all this work on your calculator. So again, have we touched this? No. You can look at it and put it in the corner. Be like, there you are. You're my friend. But I don't need you right now. You're there to support me. I don't need you. You're going to sit there. So if you're touching your calculator a lot and punching a bunch in, you might actually be getting the right answer, but you're doing it completely the wrong way. Okay? So check before an evaluation. You should not have a bunch of large numbers. I'm going to show you in a couple pages, later on, here somewhere, I said I think it's a checkup. Oops, I'll find it. I think it's at the back. Yes, and I'll show you some common mistakes that people did. And I literally copied it from a test, right? From tests where I'm like, don't do this, right? So these are people's mistakes. Where I'll show you don't do. So it says not big, large numbers. Because what some people do is they end up punching it all in their calculator. They get the right answer, but I'm not giving you any marks unless you're using the laws. Okay, what I mean is, when you see 5 to the negative 4, you go, okay, so that is 1 over 5 to the 4. Not yet. I want you to use the laws first. The laws of the exponents are these. These are the laws. I want you to add them, subtract them, cancel them first. Then you can do the negative up and down thing first. So instead of doing, so I'll show you the alternative. Instead of doing this, 1 over 5 to the 4, and then having to do this after, and then flipping the whole thing, that would take a lot more work, because then you have to do the flip and then square it. We're going to do this, right? So I don't want to see this. I want to see the laws first, which means multiply, add, do all this stuff first. So these two, this simplifies to be, what is a power to a power? Multiply it? Yeah, times. So you're going to 5 to the -4, -2, 8. Is there a negative? No. And so I didn't have to do, see, look, if you do this flipping thing, people call this the flipping thing, and right, flip, flip, flip thing. If you have to do this, that has to mean you have to do 2 of these reciprocals twice. But actually they cancel out, so you didn't have to do it at all, and you could have just done this. So use the laws first. Simplify it. So here, same thing. I don't want to do all the flipping around, so here. Can you do the law first? -4 minus 2. -4 minus 2 is 5 to the -6. I'm going to write down how I got that. So that's -4 minus 2. Okay, right, because I subtracted downwards. -4 minus 2 to the -1. And then look, before I start doing the 1 over 5 to the 6, the reciprocal thing, don't do this little flip, flip, flip until you've used the laws first. Okay? The law says if I have a power to power, I get 5 to the power to power times, multiply, 6. I just got rid of 4 flips that you would have done, 4 reciprocals. That's a lot more work. So if I see reciprocal, reciprocal, I'm taking marks off because you're doing it. And again, it's not about memorizing, right, the steps. It's memorizing understanding how and the why of what we're doing. Okay, so we want to understand. And do you see why that's so much easier? Because use the laws first instead of just reciprocal, reciprocal, reciprocal. Then you keep going, 8, and then we have divided by 5 to the 6, 5 to the 8. That would be 5 to the division becomes subtraction, 2, which is, did you touch your calculator at all? No, didn't need to. The numbers never got big. What I mean by big is that, do you know what some people do? They do the first step and they go 5 to the 8. Oh, it's 390,625. And they write that down. And then they go, oh, 5 to the -6. Oh, I'm going to do that one. I like that one. Oh, 6.4 times 10 to the -5. That's scientific notation. So they put 0.00064. And they have 580. Then they divide. They get 25. But right away, I'm like, I can't give you marks. You'll see wet stains of tears. Those are my tears. And there might be a chip stain here because then I go and I eat some chips for a little while. Every once in a while that happens. I'm like, I'm aggravated. I'm going to get myself a snack. So do you see what I mean by big numbers? Like if you did 5 to the 8, 390, you go, I don't think she ever wrote anything that was 390,000. The number should not get that big. So if you're reaching for your calculators, go, I'm reaching for it every time, and there's no way I can do it without it. Yeah, you can, right? So look for the laws first, right? And that's why, and you'll see on the back page when I do the last page there, I actually copied out answers on the test where I'm like, you should have seen it and gone, I went into the millions. That's strange. Okay, so go, wait, is there a better way to do it? Okay, and there's the better way. Make sense? Right? So that's why you get these big, big numbers, you go, ooh. All right, so next one, let's try some more. Evaluate. So evaluate and simplify are pretty much the same thing on these exponent laws. So evaluate, we're going to find the value, so you're going to go to the value. If there's a negative in front, okay, back to our grade 9 stuff, right? So grade 9, we said just keep it here. So I would say save it over here and stick it in front. It's not part of the bracket. It's not being squared. Okay, it's minding its own business. It's sitting in front. Okay, so don't grab it. It's not there. This part, that part is the part that's got the exponent, right? And it does make a difference. So if you're like, that doesn't make a difference, it does. Should I zoom in a tiny bit because the exponents are so small? Okay, there you go, right? So that part is, but there's no bracket. So leave the negative alone. Then we're going to do this. So cover that up. That's the same question we just did. Is there any laws of exponents I can do to simplify? No, right? There's nothing I can do to simplify. So I'm going to do 1 over 6 squared. Good. But see how I left this negative alone? It's not in a bracket. The only thing that's being squared is the 6. The negative sat in front. It's minding its own business. Okay, it's not part of the, don't grab it and put it down over here. It was sitting in front. It's not part of the squared. Then I'm just going to leave still the negative in front, leave it alone, and I'm doing 1 over 36, done. Didn't have to grab for my calculator. Okay. Then here, the negative, are we getting used to it? The negative means the whole thing. So you see how this bracket is grabbing all of it? And look, I did the same question, but no bracket. So this bracket says grab the whole thing and flip the whole thing, reciprocal of the whole thing. See the arms? I always say those are like arms. They're grabbing it. So grab all of it. And then you're going to say, okay, grab all the 2, 3, flip the whole 2, 3, and make it reciprocal to the 4. It's still in the bracket, right? So you're grabbing all of it. Then you want 4 of the 3 and 4 of the 2. So that is 3 to the 4. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, times 3 is 81. And again, you can think of it like 3 times 3, 2 times, so that's 81. People think of like 9 times 9. You'll get used to those numbers. And again, that's where maybe you can grab your calculator where you're like, I'm too tired, I don't want to remember that. But yeah, that's where you would use it and say, okay, 2 to the 4, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. I think of it as like 4 times 4. And again, that's maybe where you grab the calculator and like, you know what, I am not memorizing those. But you might get used to them. And you might be like, I can do them kind of in my head. Can I reduce that? Nope, can't reduce, so I'm done. Next one. See how these are different. So I did the contrast. Brackets means you're grabbing the whole thing and you're flipping the whole thing. This one, only the top, only the numerator has that. So it's like 2 separate questions then. So this numerator question here, you're going to bring that down to the denominator. So 2 to the 4 goes here in the bottom. Is that okay? 2 to the 4. The 3, do I automatically flip the 3 up? It's not, no one's grabbing it. See, no arms saying grab it. It's minding its own business. Just leave it alone. It was sitting on the bottom. It's not doing anything. It's got no exponent other than a 1. Leave it alone. It was sitting there first. It wants to just sit there. What do I put on the top? Yeah, 1. Just fill it in with a 1. And then you're going to finish it off. So 1 over 2 to the 4 is 2 times 2 is 4. We just did that one, 16. And 3. Right, that's an exponent for, and then that's 1 over 48, and you can't reduce that. All right, next one. 6 to the 0 plus 5 to the negative 1, all to the negative 1. What mistake do people want to make? They bring in the negative 1. Is there a rule, so look over here, is there a rule where you're allowed to square each one? No. What's BEDMAS say? BEDMAS says brackets first, which is this. That's the B, before you do the exponents. Make sense? So it makes sense numbers, but then when I start putting funny exponents on, you kind of forget and go, wait, what was I doing again? Brackets first. This becomes 2 plus 5 is 7 squared, which is 49. Good? So I would not square each number. If you square each number, does it come out the same? 2 squared plus 5 squared? No, that's 4 and 25. It's not the same answer. So there can be only one answer, right? One correct answer. You are not allowed to square each one. That's never been the rule. Does that make sense? Right, because of the plus, and you do brackets before the exponent. Brackets B before the exponent. So this is the B part. B. Brackets before exponents. Good? Okay. Then you guys lose your mind and go, but yeah, can I bring in the negative 1? No, I just said you've got to do the brackets first. Do you know which one you're confusing it with? Okay, watch. This is what's confused with. If I did 2x squared, you're allowed to square each one. So that would be 4x squared. You're like, but I can bring it in. What's the difference between this? If I did 2 plus x, how's that different than this? Yeah. Monomial, binomial. You cannot bring in the squared across a binomial, right? You know that that's two terms. This is two different terms. It's got no variable, so you don't think of it like terms, but this is separated by the plus or minus. So when it's separated by a plus or minus, you're not allowed to just bring in the exponent to each one. Can you do that with here? No, right? Because that's actually 4 plus 4x plus x squared, right? Like, you know it's a binomial. It works differently. It's not just square the first and the last. Does that make sense? Right, so think of it like a binomial that you can't square it. Think of it like that. That sometimes helps you because we've done so much of this. This is together, so yeah, it would be 4x squared. Okay, so maybe think of it like that. There's a plus or minus. It switches it, so there's two things happening in there. So here, you are not allowed to bring in the -1. If you do that, I can't mark anything after that. Like, you literally just, everything below that has lost all the brackets, everything like that. Like, that's big. Okay, so if you bring it in, there's nothing really we can give you marks for, because now it's just a fraction question, and you ruined all the exponents. You get rid of all the exponents completely. Okay, because you tanked it out. So here, this should be, so do the brackets first, and then save the -1. So B for brackets, bracket first. So then 6 to the 1, 6 to the 0 is 1, and then plus that, I'm just going to go 1 over 5. This I can do, lowest common denominator. So 5, 5. And we're going to get 5 plus 1 over 5, like that, right? Add the tops to the -1, and I get 6 over 5. And yes, you can go a little faster, right? So if you went, okay, I can go, if I add it right away, you can do that. We're almost there. Last step is yes, that little flip. So it's going to be 5 over 6, and we're done. So notice my flips that I do, I pretty much only do that at the very last step, like when I can't do any other exponent laws and any other simplifying. I shouldn't be doing multiple flip, 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 flip. If you are, again, you got to go, I might be doing this in the worst way. Right, because I get students who do flip, 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 flip. That's too many, right? So once you're doing it that many times in a question, you want to ask me and go, I think I'm doing it in a worse way. Okay, and again, we're not looking at just the answers, we're looking at the steps as well. Okay, sometimes you're getting the right answers, but your steps are totally different, so you want to ask questions.